This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Our plays, we had some looks, but, just disappointed in some of the efforts. I thought we had a chance to close it out. We weren't able to do it. So obviously that's something we're going to look at and, we're going to be motivated for next game.
That was Kyle Connor. He scored the game winner, 4-3 victory for the Winnipeg Jets over the Edmonton Oilers. Last night, Cam Poitras, Tyson Rewicki, Jim off today. He'll be back on Monday. I got to be honest with you, Tyson Rewicki. I didn't like the Jets game last night, honestly. I didn't like it. It was a win. You'll take it. But it wasn't an example at all, I felt, about what the Winnipeg Jets want to do and what they need to do come playoff time. Well, I just that's not the game they want to play.
You look at no Leon Draisaitl for the game. Connor McDavid leaves the game early. Stuart Skinner leaves the game early. That was quite a bit later in the game, Stuart Skinner. But, you want to see a little bit more better of an effort there. Like, we talked about it on Thursday about the Oilers and how they are so top-heavy and how they kind of do rely on McDavid and Draisaitl to carry the load for them. And they weren't... Draisaitl was a non-factor because he didn't play, and McDavid wasn't much of a factor either. And yet you still were having troubles with the rest of the team.
Yeah,
right?
Breaking through. The Jets only got, 20 shots on goal? If the Jets didn't find a way to win that game, it'd have been crushing. It would have been crushing. I wasn't my favorite game. Hellebuck's play, I didn't think Hellebuck was great, but he still made a save when they needed it, especially late in that third period. He was outstanding, so you got to give him props there, but definitely not his best game. Power play, slow, especially on that 5-on-3 for over a minute, 0 for 4 altogether. I definitely thought and I put this out on X during the game, I thought the Oilers' penalty kill looked a lot like it looked a lot like it did in the playoffs last year. Regardless, the Jets' power play just didn't have any life. And that 5-on-3 was very disappointing. Yeah,
and Brendan Escott mentioned it yesterday on the show, too, about just how well Edmonton's been doing lately in defending and penalty killing as well. And, we've seen it a couple times this year, too, with the Jets when they do get a 5-on-3 power play, where, it seems like there's too much trying to whip it around and make the perfect 4 guys touch the puck.
That's exactly what was going on. Yeah. There was just like this search for perfection, and it's like, no, do what works.
Yes,
do what works.
You have 2-man advantage. You could win most puck battles, and the Jets have shown. That's one thing that kind of gets a little bit underappreciated about the Jets' power play. I think at times is because they're so good at getting on those loose pucks when those second chance opportunities. You have an extra guy now you have a 2-man advantage on the ice. It just makes it that much easier to be able to get to those loose pucks. And, Connor and Scheifele have that really good ability to find those seams for those passes in the slot towards the bumper. Yeah. And then we just weren't, it was more so, well, I got to get it to Scheif's first, and then Scheifele's got to get it in front of the net, and then we can get a tic-tac-toe and that. Like, it just... Yeah. Simplify it. Just simplify it.
Exactly. Here's Arniel on the power play.
Sometimes for them, it just comes down to detail. Get some looks. They had a couple, KC, would you have 7 shots tonight? But they'll find it, and it's just part of sticking with it. If they're working on the details and, the compete part, they'll spend time in that in the rink, and sooner or later it'll turn for us.
Okay, there's Scott Arniel on the power play. I also got a call from Rob. Hey, it's Free For All Friday, 204-780-6868. Brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash. Jets at Noon is 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line or best caller win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We got some calls on the Jets at Noon 24-hour 24/7 hockey hotline, 204-780-6800. We'll get to that in just a second, but I want to get a text message here. It says, okay, Cameron, let's get right to the point. What the heck is up with the Jets power play? Why have they resorted back to that old drop it into the zone mentality? It didn't work for them all last year. Why would they return to that mode? They had trouble getting out of their own zone and uncontested, and the 2-man advantage with a shot on net. OMG, we have problems. I don't think we have problems. I don't think there's problems. But there's just tendencies. There's tendencies. And when it's just not working and you're getting a little frustrated, the Jets, and they've done this, and they've done so much to work out of it. That's why they're a first-place team in the league. Like, those tendencies, they were hardwired in. They've done so good to get them out of their system, get them out of the game, but they still creep back in, right? It's not 100%, and it's never going to be 100%.
And the one thing I totally get the frustrations with kind of that slingshot play on the power play, because when it's not working, it is so frustrating to watch.
Well, especially on a 5-on-3. It's like, in an opportunity like that, you got to get the lead. You got to score there.
Yeah, but we have seen this year. I mean, Connor's one of the greatest players in the NHL right currently when it comes to zone entries on the power play. Like that's just the way the NHL's been going now, and it's when you're able to kind of stand up there, you need to have. I think there's too much of an over reliance on Kyle Connor to get into the zone. Yeah, right. Like I think you need to be able to pivot from just that to having guys ready to get a pass and, you know, being able to bring the puck into the offensive zone themselves. Like it can't just be Kyle Connor every single time up the ice. There needs to be a little bit more diversity.
Yeah, well, it is exactly right. It's diversity, right? You can't go over the blue line or at least start your zone entry with the idea this is exactly what we're going to do. Yes. No, you have to make the right read and then make the right play. Let's get Rob. Rob wanted to talk about the power play. He called into the Jets at Noon Hockey Hotline. You can call that too. Open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Here's Rob.
Hi, Cam and Tyson. This is Rob. Happy Free-for-All Friday.
Happy Free-for-All Friday, Rob.
I was watching the game last night. It was quite interesting, both back and forth. But my hot take is about the power play. I'm thinking the Jets are trying to get a little too finesse with their power play again, like it was last year when it wasn't working for them. I think they've got to get back to the basics, get the puck on the net, and just keep hammering at them. Anyways, you guys have a great weekend. Love listening to your show. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate that.
I'm fired up.
Yeah, and Rob touched on a lot of the stuff that we've already discussed, but I wanted to make sure I got that on there. Another texter says, please stop that slingshot on the power play. Mike says, power play. Too much passing, shoot the puck. And Dick says, that's right, guys. Glad you aren't afraid to broach the subject. It's not looking good right now. Now, I will not go anywhere near that, though, that it's not looking good. It was not a great game from the Jets last night. They scratched out a win. I didn't like their game. I didn't. I didn't think they generated enough offensive zone time. I don't think they did enough to get to the net, and they missed way too many shots. And they were looking for that cute play instead of the stuff that's worked all season long. So we still got 12 games left before the playoffs. A lot of this is going to get worked out here. We got another caller on the Jets hockey hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Here's that caller. Didn't leave a name. So please, if you're going to call, make sure you leave your name so I can attribute this to somebody. But this caller wanted us to talk about this.
Hey, Cam, just wondering your thoughts on the Jets playoffs. I'm assuming we're going to be there.
We will. It's like 100% almost, 99.9.
I was wondering most was, is there a chance that we play only the late game in the playoffs? I noticed that we seem to really struggle with that when we play the late games, notably maybe recency bias, but just wondering if there's a chance that we actually have like central start times and we don't have to play all late games like we did in last year's playoffs. Obviously, our players have a little bit of a difficult time adapting in recent memory to those late games with the circadian rhythms and all. So just wondering if there's a chance that you can answer that on the show. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks for that call. It's difficult. Well, first of all, we don't know for certain. Like, is it possible? Yeah, definitely. We haven't seen the schedule, and we won't know until it's made, until it comes out, right? But the thing is, as always, the entire Eastern Conference plays in one time zone in the East. They will get the early games. That's the way it is. Their games will start when a normal NHL game starts. There's there right now is 4 teams in the Central Division in a playoff spot, and they all are in the center. Actually, no, I'll rephrase that. There are right now 4 teams in the Central Time Zone: St. Louis, Dallas, Minnesota, and Winnipeg in a playoff spot. There's 2 Pacifics in Vegas and Los Angeles, and then 2 Mountain Time Zones in Edmonton and Colorado. If they do play, say, Minnesota or St. Louis in the first round, I think it would give them better start times. But I can't tell you here, I can't promise you that they wouldn't be playing games at like 8:45 again, start times. Like, I would not be surprised.
Well, and even with the Blues.
In the first, yeah. I mean, I think that's what will happen. We'll know for sure when the schedule comes out, but I I would say expect that to happen. Don't be surprised if it does.
Yeah, no,
Don't be surprised if it does.
I'm with you 100%. And it's a free for all Friday when we're talking about circadian rhythms on the show. I was not expecting that, but it's a good point. Like, it is a valid point too, because especially when you're at home, you have that routine that you go through every single day on game day, and even if that routine's off by 30 minutes or an hour, like that, it could have a massive impact on the Jets. And even if, like, just with pregame naps and stuff, and
it totally does.
It kind of sounds complaining a little bit, but it's true. Like, the routine is one of the most important things when it comes to an NHL player.
Well, exactly. And if you're going to sit there and tell me that an 8:45 start, which is as long, like, they can't go over 2 hours from a normal time. So then there's like rules and stuff around this. So 8:45 is the latest they can start. You're going to tell me that when a team normally in their own beds starts a game at 7:00, and all of a sudden they're starting at 8:45, that's not going to have an effect on the players. It does. 100% it does.
Yeah.
It's a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage. It is.
Absolutely. I wanted to go back to the power play just for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Cam.
yeah. And then we're getting some calls. We got some more text messages, but we'll get to them. Talk about the power play, and we'll take a break. So go ahead.
We're getting a lot of texts, 204-780-6868, just about the overpassing and stuff. And while I agree that in that game in particular, if there was a lot of overpassing, I think one of the big problems that we need to look on, and why this Jets power play had so much success for the majority of the season, is the movement of the power play. Like, when Nick Ehlers is being that rover and really opening up passing lanes, that just makes it a lot easier for Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele to make those passes.
Yeah.
We didn't see any of that movement over the last little bit, honestly.
Yeah, it's to standstill.
It's so much easier to defend a static power play, especially when on a 5-on-3, when it's three guys, you can communicate really easily. You're working your triangle on the penalty kill. It's when no one's moving, it's easy to defend.
They just stack the box.
Yeah.
It says we'll give you the outside. That's what we have to do. You're given the Jets provided Edmonton during that 5-on-3 the perfect the perfect way to defend it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying there? Like, it was like they played exactly into how Edmonton wanted to defend that 5-on-3, and the Jets just gave it to them. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Hey, but they still won.
No big deal.
4-3 overtime. Kyle Connor, nice shot. They win in overtime. But I had a feeling it was going to be like this, because I you know what, that's how I felt after that game. Like, they just didn't have it.
Pressure builds diamonds.
But scratched out a win, and you'll definitely take it here. This texter says, how many more games must the Jets win to secure the Central? I have the answer. I'll give it to you when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
So I got two questions here. This texter says, how many more games must the Jets win to secure the Central? Sandy also says, happy Free For All Friday, guys. I have just a question. Washington is the first team to clinch their playoff spot. What will it take for the Jets to clinch? Thanks. Sandy, well, I got the answer for both of those questions. So their magic number is 10. So any Jets win and or Dallas loss that adds to 10 will earn them first in the Central. So if the Jets win 4 games, Dallas loses 6, Jets clinch first in the Central Division, okay? 1 is their magic number to make the playoffs. So any loss by Vancouver and any win by the Jets, all the Jets need to do is win one more game and Vancouver lose one more and the Jets make the playoffs. So when I say it's a 99.9% mathematical certainty, it is. The Jets will be making the postseason shortly.
Plus, the Stars are going to lose their next 10, so easy money.
So nothing to worry about. Free For All Friday. We'll be right back. Hey, quick correction here. Thanks, Adam, for sending this to me. The magic number is actually 2. Calgary can still get to 103 points. Yes. So the information that I have relayed to you is inaccurate. It is actually 2. So if the Calgary if the Vancouver, Calgary's if the Canucks lose one more game, the Flames are the only team that can still catch them. So
I forgive you, Cam.
Can still stop the Jets from making the playoffs. So we'll thank you for that, Adam. I appreciate it. 204-780-6868. George has been waiting on the line very patiently. Hey, George, welcome to Free For All Friday. How are you?
Good.
What's up? What do you got in your mind?
I got three thoughts as to why the Jets are playing the way they are.
Okay.
Watching the game yesterday, it seems like when they turn the puck over or when they get scored on, it's like the confidence level is dropped. It's like the wind's taken out of their sails, and instead of just getting one goal to get ahead of the game, they got to get two now in order to win the game. So I just think when they play the way they are, their confidence level gets lowered, and they don't end up doing their job properly. If that's
okay, so what's the fix?
The second one would be the shots on net. How many shots? Like, do you guys ever keep totals as to how many shots actually go wide?
Like in terms of like missed shots?
Yeah, like not hitting the goaltender or not hitting the net.
I don't think the Jets are a top team in that respect, but I'll find the exact. Keep going, George, and I'll get the exact number. Okay,
because my thought on that is if they were to hit the net, and at least if the goaltender holds the puck, they got to go, face off in that end. If not, there's a rebound there waiting.
Yeah.
And number three, when it gets to playoffs, the top six needs help in scoring goals, which means the whole team's got to score no matter where it comes from. And all these players that are snake bitten like Nino Niederreiter need to start wondering why. And even Velarde, who hasn't scored of late, when playoffs come around, if this whole team doesn't step up and help out the top six, then it's not going to happen. It's just going to be another first-round elimination.
Yeah, so the Jets are, in terms of missed shots, they're 11th in the league.
11th.
They're 11th, yeah. Yeah, they're 11th in the league in missed shots. So they're
how many shots are they averaging per game? Do you know that?
Yeah, I can tell you that for sure. Well, this. Go ahead. I mean, Tyson. What do you think about that? Is that leaked into the Jets game? Or are they not playing with confidence?
Well, I think over this past little stretch, those goals. I do agree with the point that you can see a little bit of dejection with the Jets when they do allow a goal, but you can't have that mentality come playoff time, right? Like this is something. If it is something that's bothering the team, and I'm not gonna speak for sure, right? Like I don't know what conversations they have in the locker room and what the vibe is in the locker room, but if that is a problem, and that needs to be ironed out almost immediately.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lack of confidence. I really don't. I hear the right things. Like when you listen to Kyle Connor, I played that clip to open up the show. Right? Yeah. There's disappointment there. Like they're not like going, oh well, you know what, great job, we squeaked one out against the Oilers, let's move on to the next one. Like there's a concerted effort to fix this. So I don't think that there's an issue with confidence. Thanks so much for the call, George. I appreciate it. And to answer your question, 28.1 shots on average per game the Jets take.
Okay.
And which is 15th in the league. Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
There was a text or two that mentioned how Scott Arniel was kind of preaching at the beginning of the season that they wanted the Jets
18th in the league.
To get more shots on net. And while I do agree with that, I think that because the Jets have had the lead in so many games, I think that also kind of plays a factor into their shots on goal total. Not to say that you're not looking to still generate offense when you have the lead, but you're a little bit more conservative when you do have the lead, and you don't want to be throwing pucks towards the net like the Hurricanes do, because that's their kind of motto, is just get pucks to the net and we'll figure it out from there. When you have the lead and you're throwing pucks on net, it just creates more unpredictability, and it could go the other way, right? Like if a shot goes off a rebound off the goaltender and it springs a breakout the other way and another team goes down and score, well, you want to have control when you're in the offensive zone and maintain possession. That's the best way of winning hockey games.
And the Jets are a team that takes good shots, right? They're like very high shooting percentage as a team. They're the 96th percentile. I mean, they shoot at 12.3%, while the league average is 10.5. So they're a real good shooting team, but it's about getting to those spots. Justin says, Jets power play wasn't as bad as Buffalo last night. Did you see them score on their own net?
Yes.
You like that, Tyson?
Oh, I like, and it's been happening more recently. Like just take a peek.
Sabres, baby.
Take a peek.
Sabres. Robert says, hey, Cam and Tyson, the Jets need to blow out the Sabres. It'd be nice if they came out and won by they got 6 or 7 goals, but I just want them to play real well. Yeah. That's it. I want them to go back to the way that we know for them to play.
And the Sabres have been playing actually pretty decently besides this last game against Utah since the trade deadline. They've been a tough out.
Dom's got a good text message here. Dom says, Cam, the PP last 5 games, 1 for 16. That's why there's a concern. Need to fix that soon. Also 6 for 37 since the Four Nations at 16.2%. Chuck, you're on Free For All Friday. Chuck, what's up?
How you doing, guys? Look, I'm an anal accountant, so I need to tell you the magic number for the Jets to win the Central is actually 9.5.
9.5. Okay, so is it okay if I round it up to 10?
Well, no, because the overtime loss gives you a point, right? So if the Stars go 14-0, they can't get more than 118 points. The Jets get 9 wins and 1 overtime loss. It's 119.
Okay.
So we're getting close to nailing it.
Okay, so it's better than 10, is what you're saying.
Better than 10.
Okay. I gotta stop using playoffstatus.com because it's getting me into some trouble here.
I'm no mathematician.
I'm using it because I'm no mathematician here, so I just go to I find websites and stuff to help me out with this. They screwed me on Calgary with the 1 instead of the maybe you know what, it might be a 1.5. No, it's not actually. I did that math for Calgary.
When we were thinking about the numbers too, I just remember from like the hangover when Alan's at the poker table and and just all those numbers are going around in his head. Like that's me when I'm looking at the magic number for the Jets.
Well, Chuck, thanks so much for the call.
No problem.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks so much, man. I'm going to send these guys an email. They're getting me into trouble today. That's why you got to do your own stuff. Can't rely on others. Destry, what's up? Do I have that right, Destry?
Yes, you do.
Okay, Destry, what's going on?
The power play. I don't know how the coaches haven't noticed it, but they do that drop back pass to get going.
Mm-hmm.
Other teams are reading that and they're cheating on that. Last night I seen Morrissey about 3 times could have just went straight into the zone. I don't know how they don't see this on film that other teams have figured out exactly what they're doing on a power play and they're cheating to that back pass. If they fix that, it's fixed.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to cheat, though, then if you're cheating on the slingshot there, then you're right. Then you have to read the play a little bit better. But then that does open up more opportunities, right? Like if Kyle Connor gets the puck on a slingshot and someone's cheating towards Kyle Connor, you can dish it off to both lanes, and all of a sudden you have a 4-on-3 or a 5-on-3 coming into the zone.
Yeah, but they're not. They're passing it back. And last night that Edmonton guy almost picked it off 3 times. And the one time Morrissey did that sidestep and then went, they got in.
Okay. Well, thanks for the call, Destry. I appreciate it. I mean, I think the power play, it's just got to move the puck quick, right? They have to. It's not. And you made a great point. It's not the passing per se. It's the quickness. It's got to move. That's it. And when it starts to when it was moving quick, look at what it was doing earlier in the season. But when it slows down, it looks like it did last year, right? It's the same issue. So they're dedicated to fix it. I think they're going to be able to fix it. Dom brought up those numbers, 16 or so % since the Four Nations face-off. I mean, they got to figure that out, but they were going at such a clip. There was always going to be a little bit of a regression. But if you believe in that, it's going to start going back up at some point, hopefully. Cross your fingers. Jeff, welcome to Free For All Friday. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you guys doing? Great show as usual.
Good. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks.
Yeah, so I agree. Like the power play was pretty, obviously anemic, last few games. But you have to have more of a shooter's mentality. I think they're just like Gabe had a shot down low at whatever it was near the end of the third period, and he's trying to pass it to Ehlers or back to Connor. And he's down low. You got the puck down low. Scheif got them down low, I think. And he's trying to pass it off. Like you got to put that puck on the net.
Well, yeah.
Like, what are you waiting for exactly?
Yeah, well, it's the 5-on-3, right? I mean, you got to shoot the puck. You can't just
shoot the puck.
Yeah, you can't just dance around the outside. I mean, that's what the Oilers wanted them to do. It's like, yeah, sure. You're going to just keep the puck passing around the outside, and we'll just go right into the box, protect the net. That's how you want to defend a 5-on-3.
Okay, and then I'm just going to say that we have to have better starts. Like I love Halbach's a great player. He's done so much for the Jets and the community and everything. But you have to have better starts than that. I mean, like this is ridiculous. And like little floaters in, they know to start the game, and against Seattle too, and Vancouver. That's not winning hockey. Like you come back. Listen, I never argue with success. I never argue with results. We're winning, and that's the bottom line. But you have to say to yourself, is this a recipe for success? It's a dangerous recipe of falling behind 2-0, 1-0. 2-1 all the time. You're always chasing the game.
It's a valid point, Jeff.
Game to play.
Yeah, and I did not. Yeah, I mean, obviously that you don't see Hellebuck make that goal by Jeff Skinner. That doesn't happen. That one's 100% on him. He's got to make that save.
He's got to save that.
And I didn't like the second. I didn't like the second goal either. That Skinner also scored because that was just a failure to track the puck and it just slipped in.
The goal, you got to keep your stick down. That stick's got to be there. He pushes it, so you push back.
Yeah,
okay, you can say, well, he's in the crease, but you have a goal. You're a man. You push back.
Yeah.
Keep your stick down. So I don't agree with that either. I think you should have the second one too.
Yeah, so I'm with you on those two, but then at the end he makes a couple of huge saves at the end of the third period to keep him alive. So
yeah, I mean,
all right, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. You take care. Okay, thanks for the call.
Okay, take care.
Okay, bye. Hey, Martin, what's up? Welcome to Free for All Friday.
Oh, hello. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Good.
Doing great, Martin.
Okay, I'll tell you what has to happen. Don't worry about the power play. That'll sort itself out. This is what's got to happen for playoff success. Don't win the President's Trophy. Do not win the President's Trophy. That's a curse.
Yeah.
You're out in the first round. See Boston from 2 years ago. Just win. Let Washington have that. That's fine. Get first in the Central, which we will probably do, barring a collapse, and that's not going to happen. Who would be their second round opponent, assuming they win the wild card? It would be
right now it's St. Louis. Yeah. Or if they win the first round. Oh yeah. Well, Dallas or Colorado. I mean, who knows, right? That could go either way.
And Colorado beat the snot out of each other. Number 2 and number 3 just for the wild card. They need to face either St. Louis or Vancouver. I'm scared. I'm a bit worried about Utah if they get in, because first year momentum and getting goal lead. They won't get goal lead with Vancouver or St. Louis. And so that's my hot take. Who are you worried about? Discuss who you're worried about for like a wild card opponent. I'd be worried about Utah.
I'm with you.
Martin, thanks very much. I'm gonna pop you on hold here, and so just to reiterate the point he was trying to make, there's only been 2 teams that have won the Stanley Cup that have won the President's Trophy since 2001 and 2002. The Detroit Red Wings in 2008, and Chicago did it in the shortened season in 12-13. So I don't know if there's like a curse stamped on it. But definitely being the first in the NHL has really, essentially at the end of the day, has really no meaning when it comes to who's going to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, and Washington doesn't want that President's Trophy because like over the last 10, 15 years or so, like they've got one, I think 3 times now at this point, and they've never won the Cup when they won it.
I don't want to play the game of who Okay, if I have to answer Vancouver. I just think that there's so much other things going on inside the locker room, amongst players, personnel, attitudes, all that stuff that's kind of bubbled up to the surface this year. I don't think they have a real long playoff run in them. If Calgary gets in, if St. Louis gets in, if it's Utah, that's a tough out. Those teams will play the Winnipeg Jets very, very, very tough. St. Louis, they've had a resurgence. They're in a playoff spot. They've done real well.
Montgomery's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a great coach. Like St. Louis if it goes right now as it would be St. Louis. That's a tough team to beat. Right?
Especially with all the momentum they have too. And
absolutely.
Bennington with his season, I mean, his season overall hasn't been the greatest, but when we talk about accomplishments and what he's done on the biggest stage at the Four Nations, I mean, do you really want to play him in a playoff series?
Utah and Calgary have nothing to lose because they're not supposed to be there. Yeah. They're not supposed to be here right now. And
Utah's so fast.
Yeah.
They are so, and like Martin mentioned, Vezmelka, he always plays good against the Jets.
So Scott Arneal said this, be careful, don't pick your poison. I'm there, right? These are all tough opponents. And if you're starting to say, oh, this or that team, you're going to get into trouble. And I say all that, and the Canucks beat the Jets 6-2 already. So I say that's the team. If I had to pick if I had to pick, which I don't want to, there you go. So, hey, Chris, welcome to Free for All Friday. What's going on?
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. I just wanted to talk about my observations of what I've been seeing over the last month or so post the break. Like past years, the Jets have played very well throughout the regular season to get them in a playoff position. But once the break occurs, there always seems to be a point where the other teams really start to step it up because they're really fighting for a spot. However, the Jets have played at that level for much of the year. So when these other teams come into our building or we're going into theirs and they're fighting for a position or a playoff spot, we're not there yet, but comfortably placed to do so. But we can't seem, or we sometimes seem to struggle to meet the levels of play that we're playing those teams against. And it's always a concern going into the playoffs because that's what sets up momentum or lack thereof going into the playoffs. And that's just been my observation for the last couple of games anyways, but better than most years.
Great call, Chris. I really appreciate that. No, great call there from Chris. And yeah, I mean, he might be onto something there. Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, well, hey, we're going to give away our Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road, VIP text. Is going to win the VIP car wash. We're good friends at Wash Method. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. We'll be right back. Well, our winning text message goes to Chris, who said, on the Jets power play, they have success when they create movement and cycle positions. Get back to that mentality and not look for the pretty play while having a shoot mentality. Get back to that, and the power play will be deadly. Once again, that from Chris D. And that text message was the VIP text. And Chris has won himself a Wash Method car wash for down at 690 St. Anne's Road. So, yeah. Great stuff there. Let's get to some other text messages as well. This texter says, hey guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Coach Arneal say at the beginning of the season they wanted the players to increase the number of shots they were taking in a game so they would be a high shot producing team? It seems like that this is not the case. Obviously, when you're in first place and winning the majority of your games, not many are going to critique how you're playing, but the last number of games, it has occurred to me that they were taking a lot of shots, even though the coach wanted that to change. Kevin, yeah, as I said earlier, the Jets are a high percentage shooting team. They're one of the best in the league. So if you score, you don't have to keep shooting the puck.
And they got the lead in a lot of those games, too.
Yeah.
You're just, naturally, the other team's going to shoot more when you are up in a game.
Yeah. So I think those factor in there, Kevin, but I think a good observation nonetheless.
For sure.
Tyson Renwicki's going to take you all the way until 2 o'clock. Thank you very much, Jeffrey Fortier, for producing the show. That's it for me. Be back same time on Mondays here.